Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioners Clubhouse and the LCC Network. We're here, part 2 of week 7. We've all survived again. Wild Waiver Wednesday. Moving on to the weekend, and we've got a lot in store for you guys. What's up, Jameson?
Hey, yeah, excited to be here. Episode 2 for week 7. So this episode is stardom, sit 'em advice, and then we've basically just got weekly matchup predictions, projections. We'll go through all the games we've got going on this week, including our game of the week, which is Mufali and Daquan in the Top Trials Conference. So that's all we kind of have on the agenda today. So we can kind of run through things a little more in detail. So I'm looking forward to it. And my locked and loaded, 100% guaranteed DE MVP at the end of the show. Yeah, other than that, yeah, I had to dig deep this week. Other than that, yeah, we're good to go. So if we want to kick it off, you want to go ahead and jump right into stardom, sit and kind of get that out of the way. Give everyone some advice on who they can roll with this week.
Let's do it. Pumped.
Awesome. So who do you have as your offensive starter of the week?
Well, let me first start out by saying I don't believe I've picked a quarterback yet for stardom or sit-em. So this week I've decided to go with a quarterback for both. My quarterback stardom this week is none other than Jared Goff playing against the 49ers defense, who has been absolutely garbage this year, especially through the air. I'm loving me some Jared Goff this week. If I had him, I'd definitely be plugging him in. Now, granted, there is that potential of Jared Goff going up big early on and then just dying shortly after because he got up by so much.
Yeah, I was going to say that's my only concern is Aaron Rodgers put up 61 against them last week, but he was playing from behind the entire game. And if the Rams get up early, especially with Cooper Kupp out, I mean, they could just pound the ball for 2 quarters.
It's possible, but with that said, I mean, Jared Goff's lowest game was last week against a good Broncos defense, only getting 20 points. But before that, the man was killing it. He had 70 points against the Vikings. He had 38 against the Seahawks, who were really good. And then when you look at a team like the Cardinals, a team that they manhandled, he still put up 42. So that's why I feel comfortable with going Jared Goff against the 49ers this week. I think he has a 350-plus yard game with a couple touchdowns in the mix. So I think he's going to be solid. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude. Well, here, let me tell you something. Out of 6 weeks, he's done it 3 times. He did it week 2 against the Cardinals, week 3 against the Chargers, and week 4 against the Vikings. Oh, yeah. And he almost did it against the Seahawks. So, yeah, trust me, Jared Goff's going to go off this week. I feel very comfortable saying that. He's a must start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate him at all. I mean, if I had Jared Goff, I'd definitely be throwing him in this week for sure. So my offensive start of the week, I went with a lesser known name, Jermaine Kearse, New York Jets wide receiver. So Quincy Enunwa is out at least for a couple weeks with a high ankle sprain, and he was kind of the possession receiver for the Jets. And then Robbie Anderson's their deep threat, and then Terrell Pryor is also going to be out, it looks like, this week. So Jermaine Kearse is the guy to fill in for him. 23 fantasy points last week after Enunwa went out. And this is a really favorable game script where they're going to be playing the Vikings. They're going to be behind, I think, the entire game. So they're going to have to throw. I mean, I could easily see Jermaine Kearse getting, 9 or 10 catches, 90 to 100 yards, and maybe fall in the end zone as well. So, I mean, I could easily see 25 to 35 points for Jermaine Kearse this week. So if you've got him, fire him up. I've even thought about picking him up and replacing him with one of my guys that's on a bye this week. So he's worth sticking.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What about your defensive starter? Who do you got?
This guy has fallen off the face of the earth since week 3, but I think this is the week where he really, shapes things up and really turns around for himself. I think Fred Warner is a guy, if you have him, you definitely need to start him. When he's played against high-octane offenses such as the LA Rams, the man's been putting up 34-plus points a game. Week 1 against the Vikings, he had 60 points. Week 2 against the Lions, who I wouldn't say is high-octane, but they're still pretty solid. 34 points. Week 3 against Kansas City, 41 points. And then when you start getting against like the Cardinals, he had 12 points. Green Bay, they don't run the football. He got 13 points against them. He only had 3 tackles the whole game. But with the Rams, I really think they're going to go up big. And eventually they're going to start pounding the rock. And I think Fred Warner is just going to garner a lot of tackles and a lot of attention when they're running that football up the middle.
Yeah, I think the upside for him is that he's at least going to be on the field a lot. So a lot of fantasy football is opportunity, and he should be on the field a lot for plenty of opportunity. So yeah, I could definitely see that pick. My defensive stardom, I've got Tack McKinley, Atlanta defensive end. He was a rookie last year. He's in the second season. They're playing the Giants on Monday night, and Eli Manning is the third most sacked quarterback in the league, right behind Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen. That offensive line is complete garbage. I mean, I'm pretty sure one of us could get a sack if we were just happen to be lucky enough. But I mean, honestly, this is just the matchup. I think the Falcons are going to be able to get a lot of pressure. Eli Manning has been one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the NFL this year and been dumping the ball off a lot, which is why I think Saquon's kind of blowing up so much. So I would not be shocked if Tack McKinley is able to get at least one sack and probably a couple tackles on some of those short dump offs and screen plays and things on Monday night. So he's worth looking at. He hasn't done much this year, but if you got a guy in a bye and you need someone to throw in who can have a big game, definitely look at Tack McKinley.
All right, so I'm going to jump straight in to my offensive Sidham, who's obviously a quarterback, like I said earlier. This guy has just been beaten and battered worse than Ray Rice's fiance back in the day, man.
Oh my God.
Dude, Deshaun Watson is coming off just a rough week, man, against the Buffalo Bills. He's had a great year.
Quarterback in the league.
Yeah. I mean, he's 6'2", 220. He's not the biggest quarterback out there, and he's a scrambling type guy. I just think this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, after the beatdown they took by the Dallas Cowboys, I don't see how Jacksonville lets that happen again. I think they're going to tee off big on Deshaun Watson and that offense. I mean, they're out for blood. I mean, that was an embarrassment that franchise hasn't seen since the days of like Blaine Gabbert. I mean, just it was ugly, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was rough.
Yeah,
it was rough to watch on TV. If you were a Jaguars fan, which I don't think we have any true Jaguars fans in the league, that was probably even harder to watch for them. But no, I think Deshaun Watson, he's going to feel the wrath of that defense. I think he's going to get, if he doesn't come out of that game in a stretcher, that's a win for the Texans, because this can be ugly, in my opinion, from a defensive side, and in that aspect. I could see the Texans possibly winning, but no, that defense is going to go off.
No, yeah. In fact, I think this is, should probably be temper expectations on all, Texans offensive players. In fact, that's, my guy I'll talk about here in a second, but most sacked quarterback in the league this year, coming off a chest injury, got, like you said, battered in the last game, and the Jaguars are definitely going to turn it up. Look at Jaguars defensive ends, this week too, if you're needing someone to plug in. Although I don't think there are any that might be available on the line on the waiver wire. But so speaking of Texans, I've got Will Fuller as my offensive sit-in this week. Dealing with a hamstring injury, and he's a guy who he's a speed guy. He has to run the ball, or he has to run to catch the ball. And with hamstring injuries, it's just tough. He's declining, so he's actually had 7 fantasy points last week and only 4 before that. So he's literally doing nothing since he re-injured his hamstring. And against the Jags defense, I don't think there's any opportunity.
That secondary is going to put all of them on lock. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's like I said, it's going to be rough for the Texans offense.
Yeah. And Billy's got him in his starting lineup. I think he needs to make a change there, and whoever else might be considering starting Will Fuller or any of the Texans guys besides Hopkins. I mean, you really have to start him. You can't sit him, even though you should temper expectations. But yeah, Will Fuller's my sit-em of the week on offense.
So my sit-em of the week, for my sit-em is as a guy who's been pretty solid for the most part this year. Carlos Dunlap. He's the 6'6", 280-pound fierce defensive end in Cincinnati. He's going up against the polar opposite offense, the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Pat Mahomes is not only tough to sack because of that offensive line, but because it's Pat Mahomes, he has the ability to move around in the pocket, make things happen, avoid the sacks, kind of like a younger Cam Newton type. I mean, their play style is a little bit different, but you get what I'm saying here. I really think Carlos Dunlap's, if he gets points, it's going to be purely off tackles. He's not going to get the sacks like he was getting against the Dolphins, the Falcons, or Carolina, or even the Colts for that matter. I think if you've got him, bench him. If you don't have him, don't worry about picking him up this week because I really don't think you're going to see anything from him. Wait until they play Tampa Bay is my advice.
Yeah, you want to hear something interesting? Pat Mahomes is the 34th ranked QB in sacks this year, which is insane since he's played every single game. Quarterbacks that have been sacked more than Pat Mahomes, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who only played 3 games, CJ Beathard, who's only played 2 or 3 games, Josh Rosen, who's only played a few games, Nick Foles has almost as many, and Sam Bradford's been sacked as many times as Pat Mahomes. The dude doesn't go down. He's been sacked less than Tom Brady this year. 34th. There's only 32 NFL teams, and he's 34th. He's been sacked less than other backups. So don't start anybody on the defensive line against Pat Mahomes ever.
Yeah. All right, here's a trivia question for you, real quick. Just random trivia question. How long do you think Carlos Dunlap has been in the league?
7 years.
9 years.
9 years. Wow.
9 years. In fact, he's going to be 30 come February. I didn't realize he was that old, to be honest. I had forgotten how long ago he came into the league in 2010, drafted out of Florida. I forgot it's been that long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still playing at a really high level.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. I mean, the dude is legitimate. I mean, it's just it's crazy to think that he's been around that long. I mean, it wasn't until later in his career that he really started to blossom as a defensive end. In my opinion, it was really 2014 when he really exploded. He had 8.5 sacks, and the next year he had 13.5. But no, it's just nuts that he's been as good as he has for a while now.
Yeah, he's been awesome. He just shouldn't be started this week for sure.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So my defensive end, my defensive sit-em is also defensive end, kind of along the same lines. Akeem Hicks. They're playing. He's a Bears defensive end. They're playing the Patriots. The Patriots are 27th in sacked. I guess in sack rankings this year. Tom Brady just doesn't. He doesn't get sacked very often.
Ever. Any year.
He gets balled out quickly. Did what?
He never gets sacked. I mean, it doesn't matter what year we're talking about. I mean, the man's got a ridiculous release and awareness in the pocket.
He's got basically 19 or 18 years of not getting sacked. Statistics to look at. 27th, right in front of Pat Mahomes, basically. And I don't think the game script's going to favor the Bears' defensive ends. Defensive ends get sacks when QBs have to drop back and drop back and drop back and drop back. And that's not going to happen. The Patriots are going to get up early and they're going to ground the game out for the last 2 quarters. So there's not going to be sack opportunities. So Akeem Hicks had 35 points last week against the Dolphins, which in a favorable game script, I don't think that happens this week. So if you got Akeem Hicks, bench him. If you got Khalil Mack, consider benching him too. He's got the ankle injury, and again, I don't think he gets to Brady. Belichick's going to scheme Khalil Mack out of the game. So, but yeah, awesome. So, yeah, that was good. I look forward to looking at these next week, and hopefully we're right about them. But so we got.
I feel good about it. It's funny. Our defensive stardoms are usually pretty accurate, considering we have full-time jobs outside of doing this podcast. I mean, the only research I ever do, literally for this, is probably the night of when we do these podcasts. Then I start looking at stardom and situms. But yeah, no, we're surprisingly accurate. We're getting really good at it, I feel like.
Yeah. No, yeah. It just takes a lot of over and over and over and over and over, and so I think we're kind of getting the format down and everything. But do you want to jump into reviewing the matchups we got this week? I think this is one of the segments people like to hear about.
Yeah. No. This is, I know from from a lot of the feedback we've been getting, we know a lot of you guys like to hear about the upcoming games, our thoughts about them, the history behind the games, and that sort of thing. So we have kind of allotted more time to this. Granted, we may talk about some other stuff too along the way, but no, let's get it started. Let's talk about our game of the week this week. We have not had a game of the week from the Top Shotters Conference in a while, probably 2 or 3 weeks at this point. So it feels like they're due. You know what I mean, Jameson? I mean, it's been – we haven't had a great game, at least going into the week, that we felt like that we could declare game of the week. But this week, without a doubt, I mean, if anyone who knows anything about that conference knows Daquan versus Mafali this week is hands down the game of the week. Mafali is 4-2, won 3 straight games, playing against Daquan, who is 5-1. Even at 4-2, Mafali's third in that division. It is crazy. That says so much about the skill level in that division, how much more talented they are than the rest of their conference, and it's just unfathomable. Their record's that good in that one division.
Yeah, you know how we played under yesterday about 3 people going from the same division to the playoffs?
Yeah.
If there's ever been a division that has a chance to do it, it's that one.
Yeah, I mean, they did it last year. It's going to happen again, without a doubt. I think Mafali's got a game ahead of Jordan, who's kind of trying to get in the wild card spot. I'm just kind of glancing at this right now. You know, you've got Storms at 4-2, Hunters at 4-2, Colby's at 4-2. Those are kind of all the wild card pieces that I see kind of moving around throughout the rest of the year. But no, I feel very certain Mafali is probably going to end up in it. And as long as Daquan doesn't take a nosedive, I think he should be able to hold his lead in the division. He's got a 2-game lead over Jordan. But no, this would be a great.
This would be a great game, and these two could actually see each other in the playoffs again pretty easily.
Yeah,
especially if it kind of continues along that path. Mafali is projected 274 points off of immediate projections. That's an insane number. I mean, even the best teams, two high 250s, 260s. So to be projected 274 already, I mean, he should have a monster week.
No, I feel pretty good. He's gonna. What about Daquan? Are you seeing what he's projected at all?
Yeah, he's at 223 right now, but his lineup's not set. He's still got a player left. He's probably going to be somewhere around 250 when his lineup is set.
20-point spread's pretty big.
Spread. It is pretty big. Definitely not, anything that's, too worrisome to look at. But I think Daquan's got to go through and set everything. He doesn't have all the highest players in their positions yet, so it could be higher than that. But either way, I think it's going to be a really good game, and it could be a playoff preview. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, right now, if the season ended today, Mafali would have the 6th seed, Daquan would have the 2nd seed. So very well, these two teams are going to meet each other somewhere in the postseason. More than likely, it'd probably be the divisional round or conference championship. But last time these two teams played each other was week 9 of last season. Mafali ended up winning a big one, 263-181. We all know Daquan was pretty much a dumpster fire team last year, but he has totally turned it around this year. Mafali's starting to prove himself as a perennial playoff team in a short stint in the league. I think it's his 3rd year, if I'm right. Because he was with us a couple years back and he came back last year. So yeah, no, he's looking solid, and I'm pretty excited to see how that one goes.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. So who else do we have on the agenda here?
Yeah, so we go from that great game to one game that I'm not personally excited about. Now, granted, I'll just go ahead and say it. It's Storm versus Matt is the next game. Vegetarians 4-2, coming off a loss, and Matt, who is 1-5, is on a 4-game losing streak. Matt did almost pull out an upset. These two teams have a long, long history of playing each other. This will be the 13th time they've played each other in the regular season.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt leads the series 9-3. Storm's only won 3 times. The last time Storm won was in 2015. He won in Week 10, won 142-124. The 2 times before that, he won in 2012 and 2013. But no, he hasn't won since 2015. In fact, the last time they played, Matt ended up winning by, I think, almost 50 points. 237 to 189. Yeah. So
wow.
definitely a rivalry game in that conference for sure, and it has been for a long time. Matt's outscored him 422 to 288 in a head-to-head record in the postseason. The regular season, Matt's outscored him 1,365 to 1,198.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
It's projected a pretty close game too, just a 10-point spread.
Really?
Off the bat,
What?
that'll change.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 10 points. So hopefully it's going to be as good as it's projected to be. I mean, I see some stars from both sides. I think I see a lot of potential from both sides, and especially Storm, trying to gear up for that run to the playoffs. So that's that one. Maybe hopefully that one won't be as bad as we think it's going to be. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next up, we've got Charles, who's just trying to find a victory at this point, anywhere can get it, versus Colby.
This is not the team to try to find a victory against.
Yeah, I know, for real. Although Colby is coming off an upset against Michael, we didn't think Michael could do it, so why not, Charles? Why not? Charles has never beaten Colby. In fact, he's 0-4 against him. The closest he's ever come to beating Colby, I believe, was in 2015 in Week 10. Colby ended up winning that 203 to 174. That is the closest he has ever come to beating Colby.
29 points is the closest he's ever come. That's not a good indicator.
That's not a good indicator. That last time they played each other was Week 9 of last year, and Colby ended up winning 277 to 202.
Oh my gosh! Well, the projections are much closer than that. Colby doesn't set his lineup, but it looks like it's going to be somewhere around 250-ish to like 225, 230-ish. So 20 to 25 point spread.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. There is a chance. There's always a chance in fantasy football. But that doesn't mean that we still can't make fun of you and laugh at you if you can't rip off a win somewhere.
I'm cool for you, Charles. You got this.
Yeah. Hey, we're rooting for you, man. Yeah, absolutely. Unless it's against me.
Yeah.
I'm always really upset. But yeah, so we'll give him a break and move on. Who we got? Jordan and Hunter next.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about this game. This is probably the second biggest game to look out for this week in terms of impact for the postseason. Jordan's on a 2-game win streak. He's looking hot right now. But so is Hunter, 4-2. He's on a 2-game winning streak. They've only played each other one other time. That was last year in Week 10. Hunter ended up winning that game 220 to 213 in a nail biter. I think you can see the same thing this week. These two teams are going to be gunning for it because they're both trying to get into the playoffs. Although I think Hunter probably has a slight better chance because of his division compared to Jordan.
Jordan does, yeah. And the spread on these games, once Jordan sets his lineup, is going to be almost exactly even. I mean, it's going to be within a couple points of each other. So this is a pick 'em. This is kind of a flip a coin to see what happens type game.
All right, let's make a prediction right now. Who's going to win that game?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I really want to look at the lineups. I mean, Jordan's got a lot of players that I like besides Deshaun Watson. But Hunter's got a couple that I like too. If I had to pick, I would say 278 to 260 Hunter. Hunter wins it by 18.
I say Jordan has 303. I think Hunter comes out with 290.
Oh, wow. So you're going much higher then.
Yeah, no, I think Jordan's team, like I said, he's on fire right now. I mean, I think I could be wrong. I could have swore he's broke 300 back-to-back weeks now. I feel good about it. I feel like Jordan has a good shot at winning this, but I think it's going to be close.
It's really going to come down to Saquon Barkley, I think, for Jordan. I mean, he's been the absolute just complete monster.
And Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson gets shut down like we think he might, then that could cost Jordan the game right there, hands down.
Yeah, luckily he's got a lot of other players I like: Chandler Jones, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Quan Alexander. He's got a lot of good pieces this week on really good matchups, but Hunter does too. So so we'll see how that goes. But we'll see whose projections are more accurate next week.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say the next game, both teams at 2-4. Michael is on a 2-game winning streak. Congratulations to him. Going up against David Abortion Clinic, who's on a 4-game losing streak at 2-4. Man, he's got to feel if he's even keeping up with his team right now. I don't know.
I don't even know. Is he still?
David's right out there, man. You might want to get on that.
If you're still around, Michael should win this game. I don't know. Abortion Clinic has completely fallen off a cliff. He's projected to lose, and Michael hasn't even set his lineup yet. He's still got 2 empty spots.
Here's the funny thing about Michael. He went from last place in that conference to the 9th best team in the conference. I mean, granted, he's still at the bottom of the barrel, but he's moved up.
What kind of stat is that? 9th best. What kind of stat is that?
That
is
went
from 12th to 9th in 3 weeks. What kind of stat? That is not impressive in the least. What kind of stat was that? That is horrible. That is not how we want to brand our show.
Dude, listen to this though. Listen to this. He surpassed Matt. I'm not saying much. He surpassed
Charles.
Charles
who collectively have 2 wins.
No, collectively they have 1 win actually between the two of them.
One. Sorry about that. 1 win.
And Secure the Pound, he's at 2-4. He surpassed him. So hey, he's beaten down on David's door. He could get to 8th place.
Hey, if there ever was a bar set incredibly low, I think this is that time.
Hey, he's only a game behind Jordan. So,
well, congrats on being 9th after 6 weeks. So, no, Michael, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll get this win and he'll keep moving forward. But yeah. So we'll move on. Cody and Secure the Pound. This is going to be a straight up beatdown. I mean, if there's a game that's going to get away quickly, it's going to be this one.
You think? I really think this game's going to be closer than you think. I really do.
I don't know. I mean, Kevin's got some matchups for sure. But, I mean, Cody's team, 269 is the projection. Pat Mahomes, Todd Gurley, Sonny Michel, they're all going to go off this week.
I could see this being a 20-point game, 30-point game, possibly.
Well, it's already projected 26.
My confidence is dropping. The more I talk about this,
the more you go through it, the more you're like, no, it'll be fine. Well, maybe. He'll only beat by 30. No, he'll get blown out.
No, he'll get blown out. Don't even sit your line. Don't even bother.
Don't even bother.
No, last time these two teams played each other was week 9 of last year. Cody ended up winning 268 to 221 in a pretty solid win. At this point, you can probably see
47 points is a pretty solid win. Yeah, I could easily see that happening again.
Yeah.
So we'll jump over to our conference now. We got the Elite 12. A lot of good matchups. What game do you want to start with?
Let's start off with the highest the highest combined age of any matchup in the league. That's my dad versus Mike.
What kind of stat is that? What is up with all these weird? It's like ESPN, like LeBron James scored 32 points on a Tuesday in the rain in Arizona for the first time in 8.5 years. What are all these stats that you're just pulling out?
Hey, these are stats to remember. Trust me. This is a stat to remember. These are 2 seasoned veterans, if you will, going at it. My dad is on a 3-game losing streak at 2-4. Mike has won last week. He's at 4-2, barring any stat changes. Well, I mean, between now and the time this video goes out, that could change, I guess.
That definitely could change.
But yeah, we'll see how that holds out. Mike is Dirty Mike and the boys has rocked the fantasy world this year. None of us saw this happening. I don't think he's already doubled our projections, or maybe even more than that at this point, for the wins he was supposed to have.
The numbers don't even bear this out. That's how weird it's been. His numbers don't bear this out at all. He shouldn't be 4-2. I don't understand what's happening.
Dirty Mike and the
but
boys, man. Like,
Dirty Mike and the
get it
boys.
done.
He's a 57-point favorite right now, but neither team set their lineup, and your dad's got like 3 people on bye right now. So it's probably going to be really close. Your dad might be favored when everything gets set up and done. But either way, projections are going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
Probably in the 230s or 240s for these teams.
Last time these two teams played each other, I remember because I was actually in Arizona with Mike on our way to the Grand Canyon. Me, my wife Maria, and we were all in the car together, and it was funny. They were talking on the phone, talking trash, I guess. But no, Mike ended up winning that game 251 to 171. I think my dad, if he wants to have a shot at making the playoffs, it's got to start this week. I think this is a win. Well, it's weird. This is a toss-up. I think it can go either way. But for my dad, he went from being, I think, at one point first in my division to now being the 10th best team in the conference.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yeah. Again, there's another one of those weird 10th best. Yeah, he's at least one game behind, maybe 2 games behind the 6th seed. Yeah, the person competing for the 6th seed right now, Cameron.
No, he's only a game behind. Actually, he's actually only a game.
Only a game behind. Okay,
but
it'll get away really quickly though if he doesn't win this week. Because I think Cameron's going to string together a few wins. And then you've got Billy in that division. You've got Isaac. You've got me. You've got Tyler. You've got Jade. I mean, there are a lot of people that might be vying, or even Mike, vying for those wild card spots. So your dad's really got to get it together this week if he wants a chance. If he has a chance.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right.
Awesome.
We spent a lot of time in that matchup, but the next game, Kyle, which is Game of Jones versus Peyton. That's Abusement Park. They're both coming off a multiple game losing streak now. Kyle hasn't won a game since week 1, and Peyton has lost 2 straight now. Last time these two teams played each other was in week 7 of last year. Peyton ended up pulling out a huge upset in that game, considering how bad his team was, winning 312 to 233 in a smackdown against the conference champion.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so that just shows you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Peyton is a 15-point underdog right now in spread. Kyle went and dropped Amari Cooper, which is a pretty bold move. Wild Kyle. And got Chris Godwin, which I like. I like that move a lot. But Peyton's just stacked with talent. Keenan Allen, OBJ, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Jared Goff. I mean, he should definitely win this game.
Well, you say this, but Kyle has outscored Peyton for the year. Kyle has 1,633 points scored. Peyton has 1,535. It's literally it's a 98-point spread between the two teams, which, granted, over 6 weeks we're talking chump change, but still, don't sleep on I forgot what was his nickname again? Wild Kyle. That's right. Don't sleep on Wild Kyle because he could easily get redemption from last year.
You got to feel a little bad for him. He has scored 310 2 times and lost both times. He scored 310 points.
He's literally either breaking 300 or barely getting past 200, not even 200 sometimes. Like, it's boom or bust all around for that team.
He's the Amari Cooper of our fantasy football league.
Yeah.
He has been scored on more than anybody in our entire conference, and I think in the entire league, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, I'm sorry. He's a few points behind Secure the Pound in that regard. But in our entire conference, he's been scored on more than anybody. So a little bit's just been luck. But either way, I expect Peyton to run away with this one. So who do we got next? Is it Cameron and Tyler?
Well,
or who's next?
I was about to say we might as well, since you said it. We'll go to their game. Yeah. No. So this is a game right here. Is definitely a playoff hopes on the line. I mean, granted, if you lose this game, you're not out. Oh my God, this is our 7th week. We still got a whole 6 weeks to play here. But no, with Kyle's loss last week, he's got to pull it together because now he is second in that division. Cameron's on a 2-game winning streak, looking extremely hot right now at 3-3. They're both 3-3. They've played each other. This will be the 4th time they've played each other, actually. Cameron is 2-1 against Tyler. Last time they played each other, Cameron won 344 to 243. Last time Tyler won was in 2016 of week 6. Tyler won 170 to 143. If you remember, that was not only Cameron's worst year, but one of the worst years of any fantasy team in league history.
Yeah, that was
like
a bad year.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So Tyler, it's a 10-point spread in Cameron's favor right now. After Tyler sets his lineup, so it's gonna be really close. But yeah, I expect both these teams to have a really good week. And you're right, there is a lot on the line, I think, for the future, for playoff positioning at least, with both of these guys vying for those wild card spots at the moment. They could still win their divisions and jump in other ways, but
right now,
there's still a lot
if the season ended today, Cameron would have the 6th seed, and Tyler would be right there at the cusp of having the 6th seed. I mean, if we're looking at
they
rankings,
have the same record.
Yeah, they have the same
Cameron
record.
Scored more points.
Yeah, slightly by less than 20 points.
By little, exactly. So I mean, literally, playoff positioning can come down to winning this game, or how many points you score. So this is going to be a really pivotal game over the season. So cool. So who do we got next? Who's up?
All right. So next we'll go ahead and get this game on here. We have got, and this is a trap game. I'm telling you, it is a trap game. I feel it. It is Bryson, my little girlies, versus myself, Roebuck Leprechauns. I feel it. This is a damn trap game. I can feel it. I get my spidey senses are tingling. Bryson's 0-6. I'm 5-1. I'm coming off my worst week. He's coming off one of I don't think last week was his best week, was it? Maybe the week before that was. I can't remember.
It was the week before that when he played me. I remember
that. Bryson has scored 1,262 points for the year. I have scored 1,711 points. To tell you the polar differences between our teams this season, I'm telling you, though, I've got a feeling. I've just got a feeling if I had to put money on a crazy win, this would be the win. Bryson beating me. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling about it. I just do.
Yeah, you never know. It can happen. It's at least good to be aware of that.
If Jordan Howard's right on the bench, anything's possible. So.
Yeah. You're who do you throw in instead of Howard this year or this week? Are you gonna throw Yeldon in? Or?
I don't even know.
Howard's gonna get game scripted out. I'm telling you, Howard get game scripted out. So just be careful about that.
Yeah, I don't even know, dude. I wish I could put myself as a starting running back for my fantasy teams. I would get more yards than any of our running backs.
At least you're favored. You're going to be favored by probably 30-ish points or so. So at least it's being in your favor right now. But you're right. It's something to be aware of. So we've got Billy and Isaac for the next game, if I'm not mistaken. And once they get their lineup set, this is going to be – the spread's only going to be about 5 points. It's going to be very close.
Now, we don't have a trash talk of the week for this week. But with that said – I have heard myself from multiple times, Isaac, saying there's no way I'll lose to Billy this week because I've never lost to Billy ever. And it's a fact. He's 3-0 against Billy. Last year, Isaac ended up playing him twice. Once in the playoffs in the first the wild card round, winning 293 to 211. Then in week 11 of that year, it was a much closer game. Isaac won 240 to 230. And then in week 1 of 2016, both of their rookie years, Isaac ended up winning 164 to 148. These are two teams came in the exact same year, probably very similar. It's crazy. Similar fantasy knowledge. Before that year, Isaac had only played fantasy once in his life. Billy was probably in that same stage. I mean, he may have had one fantasy year under his belt, maybe none at all. But when you look at the history of these teams, Isaac's never missed the playoffs. Billy did have that little bump in the road his rookie year, but since then he's looked much better, and he's a solid 4-2 at the moment, while Isaac's on a 3-game winning streak at 3-3.
Yeah, this is gonna be really close. I'm actually really excited to watch this one this weekend. So looking forward to it. And with that, we'll jump into the very last one, which is me and Jade. We're
Oof.
going against each other this week. I don't know a lot about our history. I do know the last time me and Jade played, he ended my 6-0 streak in 2016. And so I'm out for revenge. Like I've got to win this one.
You're playing the GOAT this week, and I've already felt the wrath of it last week. Last time you guys played each other, you're right. Actually, fun fact, this is literally I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, I guess. Every time you guys have played each other, this will be the third time you played each other, right? 2013, you played week 7. You won 148 to 91 in 2013, your rookie year. That same year, Jade got his first championship, by the way, for those that nope, take that back. Jade got his first one 2012. 2013 was the year he lost to my dad in the Little Critter Bowl. Anyways, fast forward, week 16, played each other in week 7. Jade ended up winning 189 139. Again, you guys are playing in week 7. You guys literally, it's like a year apart every time you guys have played each other, it seems like. It's nuts. You guys have never played each other outside of week 7. It's kind of weird. It's like
our annual week 7 matchup. He ended my undefeated streak 2016, and then last week ended your undefeated streak. So he's the giant killer. He's the only Hall of Fame owner, and that's going to make it even better for me when I stomp him into the ground this week. So I'm excited.
29 challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. I'm throwing down the gauntlet, man. It's on. It's on. 29-point spread in my favor.
Here's the thing. If I lose this week, you lose to Jade, and Billy loses to whoever he's playing. I already forgot who he's playing. Isaac. If he loses to Isaac, if Billy loses to Isaac, you lose to Jade, and I lose to Bryson, Jade goes to the number 1 team in the conference.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
He goes from 4th to 1st. That's a lot to happen, but it's definitely possible.
It's possible. It's possible. He's been a good owner. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself or anything. He's definitely picked up the IDP stuff pretty quickly. But I feel really good about this matchup. You never know. 29 points is not a ton in our league, so we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a really good game.
I think it's going to be a good game for both of you guys. I mean, it's like I said, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of good matchups this week. I'm super excited. Before we sign off, that's it for our predictions and projections. But before we sign off, I wanted to go in with my locked and loaded, 100% guaranteed DEMVP. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
You have a player on bye, don't have the Blues. Pick up and start Bills defensive end, Jerry Hughes. So that's who I'm going with. 30 points last week. They're playing the Colts offensive line, which is complete trash. And Andrew Luck's going to get sacked at least 2 or 3 times, maybe more than that. So go after Jerry Hughes or a Bills defensive end or a Falcons defensive end or a Jags defensive end this week, and you'll be just fine. So cool. Anything else, Pat, before we get off?
No, that's it. Like we said, guys, we're going to be doing playoff projections before we know it. I mean, it's week 7. That sounds like a long ways to go, but trust me, every game from this point forward matters big time and is magnified by the fact that you only have a few weeks remaining to try to get into the playoffs and get to the dance. So, there's a lot on the line.
Yeah, we're halfway through. This is the second half of the season right now. So this is bye weeks are in full swing, starting next week. So here we go. This is it, guys. Let's kick off the second half of the season the right way, and good luck to everybody out there.